Welcome cats and kittens, this is Lex. Welcome to the Tunisian Crochet Fiberist. It's exactly what it says on the tin. I am a crocheter. I specialize in Tunisian crochet, and I am an overall fiberist, which means I wouldn't call myself adept, but definitely interested in knitting. Spinning is definitely a huge passion of mine, but the focus will be crochet, and specifically Tunisian crochet. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Hi. It's been a long time. I'm not even going to check my YouTube, but I believe it's been 2 to 3 years since I've come on the platform and discussed my love of crochet and just enjoyed interacting with those who had the same passion that I did. A lot has changed in 2 to 3 years. I now have a little one. I now work in transportation as a technical writer. The world has kind of gone to heck in a handbasket, and the places where we once went for solace, as far as fiberists are concerned, are we discovered, as if we didn't know that already, that their feet were made of clay. I'm saying all of this to say that I am returning to YouTube kind of as a place to document my fibering and how it intersects with various aspects of my life. Today, we are going to talk about a project that I started in the midst of the Rona. I don't know how you guys are coping. I hope all is well. I know a lot of people have suffered job changes and upheavals and life upheavals, and I can't imagine the fear. No, I can't imagine. I can imagine the fear and the irritation at the highest levels of government and the frustration at many of our fellow Americans who are not putting the safety of others above their own comfort. We don't need to go into that except to say the salient facts. Take care of yourself. Be excellent to each other. And that's all I have to say on that. But in the midst of Rona, my Rona experience started around the 17th of March, which was the week before my birthday. And where I worked, we kept hearing smatterings about how Corona was affecting everyone. And I finally said, you know what? I'm not coming into work anymore. You guys don't have a plan. You guys haven't communicated anything to us. If I have to take days off for this, if I have to potentially lose my job, I'm not comfortable coming in until you guys have a plan. I'm not. And so I took steps, and I just said, I'm not coming in. The next day, we got an email from the powers that be saying, stay home, here are your protocols, and then within that week, we got remote access to everything we needed, and I've been working remotely on and off ever since. I go in about 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, and I am also acting as a volunteer in my building to keep an eye on supplies and things to make sure people have what they need. The kind of disinfecting and the masks and things like that. It's very important that you have those things if you're going to expect your folks to come in and work, so that they feel safe and so they are actually safe. So that's what I'm doing right now. But in the midst of that, I was getting pretty depressed and pretty just unhappy. I mean, what can you say? This is a pretty experience. I add that onto the fact that my daughter, whose birthday is 2 days after mine, my parents were planning to come down. I think my husband's parents were planning to come down, and we were going to have a wonderful birthday for this tiny human that just kind of surprised us all by showing up in our lives. One day I will tell that story. Maybe that's a Patreon story. many, many moons in the future, but that was an experience. So my daughter was turning 1. We were planning a party, and by party I mean dinner with her family. My family and my husband's family, our parents, both live in SoCal, so I was really looking forward to seeing folks, and then the Rona kind of put a stop to everything. My daughter really hasn't gone outside since. My husband, who was doing a year-long sabbatical, staying home with her, is having a hard time finding a job, of course, and it feels like we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it's been like that for the last 3 months. We're in August now. This is August 2nd. This is an insane situation. But rather than dwelling on the insanity, my goal was I wanted to do something that A, would support LYSs, B, I am using fingers and numbers, B, explore new options for myself, C, support an ongoing project that I've been doing for the last 10 years, which is a sweater a month. Prior to the Rona, I think I had 3 sweaters. As of right now, I have 9, and that's partially because of this project that I self-started, this challenge I gave myself, and the challenge was ROYGBIV. Now, this started in March, so it was before Pride or anything like that, but I just decided I needed color in my life. I needed to explore all the colors of the rainbow and all configurations of sweaters. Now, that's normally part of my sweater a month club that I've set up for myself, but this time I really wanted to hammer home on colors, because that's normally not what I do. I normally just get various shades of blue and occasionally a red and a pop of color somewhere else, but blues are normally my thing. So this was quite a challenge, and part of me really wanted to support the LYSs and Fiberist in my vicinity. So those are the parameters. That's what happened. So let's get started. How did I do? I got through ROYGBIV. So that's how many? 7? That's 7 different projects in the space of 4 months. And it's been a delight. So let me tell you all about it. So let me start with the R, the red. And this is my crop I call Red Hot. This is the Red Hot crop. Actually, it's just going to be called Red Hot, I think. So here's what it looks like from the front, and here's what it looks like from the back. Now, I am 16 months, as of now, 16, almost 17 months postpartum. I think I am approximately back where I was prior to my pregnancy, but the distribution is not the same, and I am currently not in a place where I feel comfortable wearing crops. So I've decided with this particular project to wear it over dresses, because I am a lover of a dress and a pant and a jumpsuit and all of those things. I'm madly in love with that. And this is just a burst of color on my pretty monochrome uniform as of now. So this, I love it. It started top down for front, left and right, and then I picked it up right around here. As you can see, didn't do a super great job, but all of these projects are about me exploring. Sometimes it's exploring current fads, and that's definitely what was going on here. Jessie May, that is a designer I remember specifically who is doing crops, and a host of others who are making that really popular, particularly on our Ravelry. And so I saw that, I was like, I would never wear that, but I want to make it so bad. So I definitely decided that this had to happen. I wanted a v-neck because, again, 16 months postpartum, I have developed some gifts for my daughter, and wanted to have a space to accommodate them. That is the biggest thing I'm learning. So yes, I did a v-neck on the front, The back, I have this really fun stitch. I call it my heart lace, bobble heart lace stitch, and it's really cool. This is all Tunisian crochet. My goal is to make another one of these only as a tank top and probably in a finer yarn. The yarn for this is definitely met my criteria. So this was from Souza Dyeworks. She is a Northern California fiberist, she particularly a dyer, and I believe she does some design. I see her all the time at Stitches West. She's delightful, super friendly. She has a polar silk that will, it's stunning. It's stunning stuff. But she had this Merino, which I was trying to get away from Merino this year. That was a total bust. I needed some comfort yarn, and frankly, Merino was there to be my comfort at this current time. So Souza had a deal. I don't know if it's still going on, but she had a deal that she would give you 10% off if you purchased during this situation. So of course I got 2 skeins. My friend Dr. Gemma turned me on to her ages and ages ago, and I have just never stopped. Her stuff is beautiful. The colors are really vibrant. This is the Superwash Merino, and it's 8 ounces. It comes in an 8-ounce skein, which I love. So that's 560 yards, and the colorway is Forbidden City, which is so perfectly red. It's like a red that's, it's definitely on the warm side, but it definitely has this regal, almost authoritative, like very much power color, very wearable for me, and it looks great on my skin. That's another thing that I'm learning, is that yarn has to work with my skin tone. Who knew? Who knew that was something you had to worry about? But you do. So this is just great. I love it. I wear it all the time. I pop it over my dresses and over my pantsuits or my jumpsuits, and it's just a lot of fun. There's some things I would do differently, but I just used, I would say these are standard stitches, but they're not. But these are stitches that I've kind of, I don't want to say invented, but rediscovered. So I've got this really interesting stitch right here that kind of edges everything. I've got this basic fabric stitch that I call Tunisian weave stitch, and I've got the Tunisian heart bobble stitch, which is great. So this was really fun. It was in pieces, top down. I did the back first, then did the front. If I were doing it again, I would make the back a little wider, but this is great. I love it. So my red hot crop. So we're to O. The O in Project ROYGBIV is my popover. So let me talk about the yarn first. The yarn was something I'd seen. Where did I go? I went to the yarn shop in Half Moon Bay. I think that's Fingari, and that's a cute little yarn shop in Half Moon Bay, and it was one of the first to open. So the minute they were open, I got myself completely decked out, so it's not to cause issues for the owner or anyone else, to go down and see what they had. It had this beautiful fluffy ball of ultralight merino, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I didn't buy it right then, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then I was thinking about this next sweater, and then I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I need. This is why I needed a justification. And the justification was I needed something. It was still really kind of chilly, and I like having something I can pop over in the morning just to keep myself warm while I'm working. Because I get up around 5 and 4:35, and it's good to have something to keep me warm. The heater here in our apartment is not the greatest, so what are you gonna do? So here, let me show you my orange. Oh, this is inside out. I don't want to show you my inside out sweater. This is kind of a cropped boxy pullover. I may just call it box, I don't know. So this is it. Isn't this fun? So we've got, it's kind of a marled situation. It's like, you know, a lot of those alpaca yarns where, or I guess a lot of them are alpaca, where it's a tube filled with alpaca fluff and silk fluff and merino fluff. It's the yarn is kind of like that, except the tube is black. I think the tube is black. Either the tube is black or the tube is a fluff. I can't really tell. But anyway, it looks glorious. And this too is definitely a great popover to put over your dresses, and I wear it alone with pants. The only thing is you need to wear undergarments or you're going to be showing more than you intended. The stitch pattern is actually similar to the pattern on the other sweater with one little twist, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. See if I can show you. It is definitely that heart pattern. You should be able to tell. It's the heart lace pattern, but it's worked diagonally, and it creates this really great fabric that looks cohesive, but if you look closer, it's really, really fascinating. So just so you know, I'm going to take pictures of this and all of these things and put them on my Instagram so you can get a better look at what's going on here. I love everything about this. I incorporated some ideas from some other sweaters I made this year and last year. The edging is this really interesting kind of corrugated aesthetic, and I like that because it keeps everything neat and tidy. But otherwise, I didn't use a lot of edging because I just wanted a really simple, really unmoored look. And the only thing I would do differently on this is make it a little bit longer. But frankly, with edging, you could probably get away with making it, adding an inch or two, maybe. I would see. I anticipate making another one of these. I want one in maybe a finer gauge. I have some yarn. I always have some yarn, but I have some ideas, and the next time I go digging around, I will definitely talk about that, and I will probably get into more detail on how I constructed this. But I just want to say I love this sweater. It's great, it's cozy, it's easy, and I suggest to you that you should work on a project that is just something you pop over. You can just slip on and stay cozy and stylish at the same time. So that is my orange popover. Now we're here. Now I am at the yarn where I was really, really concerned. So the first project, the pattern, the aesthetic, the current trend was the thing that really got my heart motor running. Second project, the orange project, it was definitely the yarn. Third project, it was also the yarn. Spincycle is very well known. They are. They have taken the world by storm. Particularly, they took the world by storm before Andrea Mowry, but after her, it's just been catastrophic. Not catastrophic. Cataclysmic is not the right word. It's just been a wonderful ascendancy, and they have beautiful yarns. And my favorite thing about their yarns is that they look like they're hand spun. That's definitely the look that the mill goes for, and it just makes my heart sing. So when I was thinking about yellow, here's what I realized. A regular yellow was not going to work on my skin. It just wasn't. I was going to look ridiculous, and there was no way to make it work. I was thinking maybe something highlightery, and I personally couldn't get behind it. I just couldn't. So when I saw this yarn, I was like, okay, it's like a really interesting interpretation of yellow, and it's black, and, you know, the barber pulling, it'll look really interesting. So I picked some up. Now first, this project did meet my criteria because I did purchase it from Vert for keeping warm in Oakland. They are in LAS as far as where I work. They're really, really close. So, and at the time they had just opened up their curbside pickup, which was really, really useful. Thank you so much, Vert. And so I saw the picture on Vert, purchased it. They're $34 a skein, so they were definitely an investment. Definitely an investment. But I thought it would be really great to have some. I had worked with it a little bit before, but not this particular colorway. So I got the colors, and then I wound them. I like hand winding initially, just so I can see what's going on. And I started seeing the natural color of the yarn, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to work out. And then I got to, this was a top-down piece, a front and a back, worked separately, and I got right about here on the front, and I was like, you start seeing the natural colors. So you're seeing these bright, vibrant yellows and blacks and grays and stuff, and then you start seeing the natural color, and you're like, oh, the natural wool color, and you're like, I don't know if that's gonna work, but it worked out beautifully. I love this sweater. I love this sweater so much. So I'd like to introduce to you Yellow Jacket. It is not a jacket, but it's definitely a play on the colorway and such. So here we go. Now I thought I was going to get more black. It's actually a dark brown, which makes sense because the wool is a dark brown. That's what's going on there. It's lovely. I added some eyelets because they're great. Eyelets are great. And this too is easy to wear everywhere. I like the eyelets kind of broke up some of the intensity of the natural color, but it didn't break it up in such a way that it made it as though that pattern didn't work with the rest of the pattern of the project. So it's really fun, really easy, top down. It's all top down for both sides, and it took maybe 3 to 4 days because this is closer to a worsted weight, 150 yards per 50 grams. I really like this. I would use the yarn again, but again, it's very spendy, so this is essentially a $180 sweater. It's great, and I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it out. But it's definitely something you want to think about. There are other yarn options, and maybe on a different episode we can talk about different options and why you would go with one or the other, and how to balance your idea of cost with respect to the fiberist who created the yarn. That's a conversation we're having now in the fibering community, and I'm really glad we are. But it's a very serious consideration. You have to consider a bunch of different things. So, all that to say, great sweater. This blocked beautifully. It was a little rough in my hands when it was before it was washed, but after it was washed, it just melted into a beautiful, easily worn sweater. So, love this. So, we are out of the warm colors and into my favorite colors. So this yarn kind of met 2 criteria. It was created by, the yarn itself was created by somebody who used to live in the Bay Area, and then the store I bought it from was, of course, I have accumulated several favorite yarn shops, and this is definitely in my top 3 here in the Bay Area. The Black Squirrel opened, I think, about 3 years ago. I remember going and just being bowled over by Chase, who owns the store. She's super friendly, super welcoming, super open, just this wonderfully positive beam of light. She gathers personalities unto herself, but she's a positive person, and that I would like to just commend her for, because I have, in this fibering community, run into people who have that kind of magnetism, but when you peek behind the curtain, you may see things that are less than savory. I can't say that about Chase. She's super friendly. She's super cheerful. She's super hopeful. She has a lot of great ideas. Um, she's just a wonderful person. And she's part of a... What was I going to say? I totally forgot. Anyway, she's great. Her store is, I think, open for curbside right now. You should definitely, if you're in the area, consider, or if you're not close enough, order online. She has her own yarn, which is really incredible, and it works with black light. The colors glow in black light, which is really, really awesome. So, all that to say, I was really happy and pleased to get my yarn, to purchase my yarn from her. And I had initially been to the dyers, one of the dyers' first trunk shows, and her name was Heather. Her name is Heather, and the yarn is Earl Grey Fiber Company, and she was just super friendly, super lovely. Her yarn is strikingly beautiful, and it's all over the place. So, including on her website, which you should go look at right now, because I looked and I had to step back because I was like, I may be over my yarn budget this month. It's August 2nd, and I may already be over my yarn budget for the month. Who knew? So, yeah, definitely go check out the Black Squirrel. She is in Berkeley, and check out Earl Grey Fiber Co. So, I picked up, I want to say, the day before everything shut down where I worked, I stopped by at Chase's yarn shop. She used to have, it really hurts my heart, she used to have a shop in Temescal in Oakland. It was a little teeny tiny annex. It was so cute. And she used to have a store that just specialized in California yarns or Northwest yarns. It was very cool, kind of very, indie dyed. That was kind of her mandate for that store, and it was adorable. Unfortunately, she had a closing annex, but I'm pretty sure all of that yarn is migrating back to her store in Oakland. So definitely give her a call and see what's going on. Anyway, so I stopped by her shop and saw this beautiful green blue. Now, for me, if there's anything in blue, I'm already there. But a green blue, it's just beautiful, and there's so many ways to do it, but this was the first time I saw one that was tinged more on the blue, on the green, and still captured my heart. So let me show you what I made. The yarn the project is called the Vert Heartstrap Sweater. So here we go. So that's what it is. Yeah, I still have ends that need to be woven. The yarn is her Matcha Sport, so it's 328 yards per 100 grams in the Fjord color. It is stunning, it is striking, it is beautiful, it is fun. This was, I believe, in the round. Yes. Was it? I'm trying to feel. Yeah, this was completely in the round. Tunisian crochet. As you can see, there's this fun little heart stripe lace pattern down the front where it gets its name, and a couple of stitches for a couple of what I call column stitches that kind of offset different aspects of the sweater, and then these stripes right here, the heart stripes, which is where they get their name. So I love this. This is great. It's very lightweight. It's very easy to wear. Once again, my issue is always that I don't make things long enough. Part of the reason is I have acquired more girth around my middle, and you need to create more fabric to cover more of that girth. And I just, mentally, I'm not making that connection. It's very weird. But I would say that that is one of the challenges I'm dealing with now. And I definitely want to make another one of these in this lightweight fabric because it is super lightweight. I think I used a 3.5 Tunisian hook, a fixed circular hook, and we can definitely talk about that. It was so beautiful. This color I just want to sit and eat it. So this Fjord is great. I love it. It looks great on everything I own right now. I am definitely in uniforms right now, and this definitely works well with that. So that is part of G. So blue went in a very interesting direction. I have made 2 of these projects prior. Made 2 of the projects that I'm going to talk about prior in chunkier yarn, in Quarry, Brooklyn Tweed Quarry, and Puffin from Quince & Co. I needed a winter jacket in the morning because it was freezing cold and our heat is awful. So I picked a sweater quantity of both of those and made these very cozy coats. But I wanted something that was more of a sweater, something you could wear out, something that was light but still kept me warm. And this was yarn I actually had in my stash. I think this may be the only project where I worked with yarn for my stash. Yeah. So I got, but these still met the criteria. One was Retrosaria, Mondim, and the blue speckles. Oh, Mondim, let's talk about Mondim, okay? Mondim is from Retrosaria. It is a Portuguese wool, sock weight, and there's no superwash, no nylon, no nothing. It is stunning. It's got this rustic, crunchy texture, and when you wash and block it, it gets a little softer, but it still retains that hardiness, but it's hardiness that isn't negative, if that makes sense. I love it. I need to buy another sweater's quantity of it, to be perfectly frank. It's delightful. It's nice to have a sock weight yarn that isn't soft for soft's sake. I don't know if that makes sense. That was yarn number 1. And then I paired it with some Woolen Boon in the Los Bluejeans colorway. And I don't remember if it was classic or skinny Boon, but I think it was around 400 yards per 100 grams. I'm not sure. I can't swear to that. I purchased that from the Black Squirrel. I purchased the Mondim from Vert. So it met my criteria, and they're both beautiful yarns. I used 2 of each skein. So that was one of my heftier projects, and that took probably a full month. So let me show you. I'm very proud of this one. I think I showed a little bit of the project on Ravelry, but here we go. Here, boys and girls, is my sweater. I really love the back, which is the first thing you do. It's that same heart Tunisian hearts bobble stitch. It's super easy. The only thing is it drove me nuts to work through this. It took forever. And this sweater is called the Pacific Coast Highway. I've made a couple of sweaters in this particular genre of wearables. It's just super easy to wear. It's super front beautiful. It's super cozy. It just feels good. Let me stand up so you can see. That's what's going on. It hits my high hip, I would say. Again, I think I may make another one that's a little shorter, or no, a little longer, but I love this one because it just, everything about the sweater worked out for me. The colors, this is the Los Bluejeans. You can see little speckles of red and the blue, and this right here is the blue speckle for the Mondim, and you can definitely tell the difference, but they play so well together. I'm thrilled I am so thrilled at how well this turned out. And I am currently writing this one down because while I love the chunkier iterations of this, the fingering one is very accessible. And it's gorgeous. And it's so nice to wear. And I'm probably going to wear it for the rest of the episode. So, yes, this is the Pacific Coast Highway. I will post a picture of myself, probably in better aesthetics, in Instagram. I think I'm going to have a post with all the different projects, wearing all the different projects. I think that's going to be my goal for this week. But yeah, this is great. This is great. This was done in pieces. I started with the back. I built on the front. I added the sleeves. And then I did the edging. And it's just been a wonderful experience. Both of these yarns are really great. And I'm really, really glad I got a chance to work with them. So, excuse that. That's my iPad. Let's see. Where are we at? So I finished. We're in blue. We're heading to indigo. So, yes, I am wearing this still. My shoulders have gotten a little bigger since I built this, since I made this sweater, partially because I've started biking and working out again, and I kind of bulk up. But it still fits pretty well, and honestly, it needs an extra block anyway, and that'll probably loosen up the fabric a little bit more. So, let's get down to indigo, which is that dark, unrelenting blue. That is the color of my soul. Moody, soulful, kind of melancholy, but still that blue, right? So, I picked up a yarn. It's a little complicated. It's Madeline Tosh DK in the Nocturne colorway. Madeline Tosh is currently under new ownership, which is why I bought the yarn. The former situation was not something I was particularly pleased with, and I had at that time silently determined not to invest in Madeline Tosh, even though the colors are delightful and the aesthetic is really pleasing. I didn't want to support some of the things that were coming out of that organization. But now they're owned by Jimmy Bean Wools. I love Jimmy Bean. Me and my girlfriend went up to Jimmy Bean's for a turnaround trip. What did I say? Was it last year? No, the year before, for the kid and everything. And that was an interesting trip, but it was excellent to actually see the people behind an organization like Jimmy Bean Wools, and that those are people I can support. So yeah, Madeline Tosh, the yarn shop I bought it from was Fillery Yarns, which is an OIS here. So let me show you what I did. The project is the Indigo heart stripe sleeves. So I did the exact same thing as the sweater I made out of the Earl Grey sweater, only it's DK, so it's larger. It's a larger diameter for the yarn, and I made it tunic length, and I added capped sleeves. So, and yes, this is another in the round sweater. I'm trying to remember which side's front. Oh, this is the back. Yes, it's in the round. So that's the back. And then here's the front. And this Nocturne is like the deepest, darkest navy indigo with black speckly kind of speckles, or it's over dyed. I think it might be a blue that's been over dyed with black, which is really fun, and I'm madly in love with it. So once again, we did the same stripes. The heart stripes are actually bracketing the sides of the sweater on this one, and it's a little bit longer, which I love. I think if I were going to do another one of these, and I'm going to give it a a mock turtleneck, or maybe even a turtleneck, and make it a dress. I may do a dress. We'll have to see what's in my stash, but I love it. The sleeves, we used that heart lace pattern for the sleeves, and loved every bit of it. And I believe the sleeves were also in the round. Yes, they were. They were in the round. So this was a really easy thing. This took about a week or two, and I am madly in love. And it met my criteria, so this is Indigo. And wow, we're at 40. I was really certain I would get through this in 10 to 15 minutes, but that's not the way it worked. Okay, so my final piece is the violet colorway, and I loved what came first, the love of the yarn or the pattern. That's hard to say. As you can see, I've been using this heart, this Tunisian heart pattern in most of the designs. I think there are maybe 2 designs that did not use that. Let me check. No, I think there's only 1 design that did not use that, but I've been in love with this pattern for the longest. And so I thought, you know, it would be really cool if I had like a tartan kind of aesthetic, a tartan wrap, only using the hearts, and that was been percolating in my mind for a while. I've made a couple of things that kind of approached what I wanted, but it wasn't quite there. And then this yarn came into my life. I love Jill Draper's work. I love her aesthetic. I love her yarn. I love her stuff. And what I found was that a lot of her yarns are single source, which I'm definitely a supporter of. The current yarn, the yarn I chose was a single source yarn. It was a Tarhi. I love Tarhi. Tarhi is like the best. I think Tarhi is my favorite after Cormo. So really excited. It's got a little more crunch, but it's still really soft to wear. Honestly, the only thing I can't wear, and I don't know if this is because of what the dye or any other sensitivities I may have, the only thing I can't wear is Columbia. Anything else I can wear. Wensleydale, Jacob, Lincoln, it really doesn't matter, but for some reason Columbia is the thing that trips me out, which sucks because I have about 2 or 3 pounds of Columbia I need to spin. I have no motivation because I know I can't wear it. But I digress. Let's talk about this heart and wrap. So I went to a Verb as usual, because that's the thing I love. A Verb does one thing, does a lot of things that I can appreciate. One of the things that they do that I really appreciate is that they curate beautiful fibers that you may not come across in your regular life, or wherever you are in the country. So for me, Jill Draper may not be accessible to me, but I can go to the store and pick it up there. So let me show you what I made. Here is my Hearten wrap. So, I'm not going to try it on just yet, but it's reading kind of purple, and it is not purple. Well, sorry, it's reading kind of blue. It's not blue, it's purple. It's one of those things where depending on how the light hits, it looks different colors. But for me, it always read purple. So, I made this. The goal was to have a really long, a long scarf, a long wrap, and then I decided I didn't want just a long strip of fabric, and so I decided to stop it here, and then I worked on the edging, which was here, and when I did the edging, I added a place or an armhole so that it can, it almost looks like those hunter vests that were super popular from the Hunger Games. It kind of gives you that aesthetic, but it's super warm, it's super crunchy. It still smells like sheep even though it's been washed and blocked, and it just has this crunchiness and this, I love the kind of tartany kind of setup. So this was worked side to side, and as you can see, you see regular fabric and then little bits of the lace, and then you worked a little further, and then you repeated that pattern. The other thing that's really interesting is when I came to the shoulder of this piece, I elongated the stitches so I had an easier way to shape for the shoulders. So these stitches right here are longer than the rest of the other stitches. I don't know if that makes sense, but the idea was to give more space for the arm side and the armhole. I love this. It's great when it's cold. It's great as a piece to wear under your jacket, and it's perfect. I can't wait till the fall comes. This is gonna be great. So that concludes my project ROYGBIV. Now, what's next? I am considering going back and doing an inverse version. So I would take the pattern that I did for red and do it for violet, and then change up things, maybe do it in a different yarn, or do it, for example, the red hot crop, I'm thinking of elongating it and turning it into a tank, and then doing it in a violet and a purple. And so I think that's what I'm going to do for the rest of the year. That's going to solve a couple of things. I think I have 6 or 7, I think I told you I had 8 or 9 sweaters. That will definitely get me to my 12 sweater mark, and it will definitely help me write out these patterns. I've already written a pattern this year. We can talk about that next week. It is for, I got some yarn support from a fabulous yarn company that I will talk all about next week. And then I don't know what I'll do after that, but we'll talk about that yarn company, we'll talk about the pattern, we'll talk about how Tunisian crochet works and how to elevate your Tunisian crochet. That's what I want this to be. I want this to be a resource for you. I want this to be a place where I am documenting the things I'm doing. I'm trying to build a small business, so that's really exciting, and that's all incorporated in this. The reason I've decided to go in this direction is I think it's important to find passion projects. I have a really good career. I have a really great family. I have all these positives, and I want to be able to incorporate those all in my life so I can live happier and healthier. And I hope and pray the same for each of you. So until then, cats and kittens, I bid you adieu.